y'all know we like to look at these tweets. It's something we started recently. So we're gonna react to some latest NBA tweets. And one of the first things we want to react to is KD put a tweet out there first. This is pretty interesting. He said, "What centers from the 90's will be in the MVP conversation if they played in today's NBA?" We got some. KD got some different responses. The whole NBA world was answering to this, right? But we get to learn KD and who he thinks. He thinks it's Pat Ewing, Shaq, and David Robinson. That's what he put. And what's cool is LeBron actually responds to this as well. He says Shaq, Hakeem, the Dream, Olajuwon, and the Admiral, which is David Robinson. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And let's just thinking about this as well. So, who you think? You guys thinking about the topic as well. What centers from the 90's would be an MVP in the MVP conversation? Who you got?
I think if you take Shaq pretty much in any era and he's healthy, even if he's not playing today's style of basketball, shooting a lot of threes, jump shots, whatever, he is just the most dominant force we've ever seen. So I think Shaq can easily be in that conversation. And also, Shaq is my favorite center of all time. Just putting it out there. So, but anyway, still, obviously, I think the obvious answer is Elijah, because he already was kind of the mold of what the bigger players in the NBA do today, because of how he was not just back to the basket, but he was also great at it. He was able to shoot mid-range. He was able to face up. He could do a lot with his handle in comparison to his other center counterparts in the 90's. And I think someone else tweeted that too, is that he would probably, continue to develop his skill set, develop his shot, and he would probably add some corner threes or whatever. And it's not like he even needed it because of how dominant he was already, but I feel like Elijah would be like a shoe-in to be the MVP conversation type of player in today's game. As far as let me see, who else was there? David Robinson. I think that's a good pickup. Very athletic, obviously very strong. Could score with the best of them. And I think he would probably develop his jump shot a little bit more too. So I guess LeBron said that. So I guess I agree with LeBron for the most part. Those are the top three that come to mind. Then someone else that I would think about it would be thriving. I wouldn't say an MVP, but would thrive in this era probably be Sabonis. Not today's Sabonis, but Sabonis of the Trailblazers in the 90's.
He's really underrated, man. His passing ability from back then. You think Jokic is a great passer for a big man, but Sabonis, he was a a great passer.
Oh yeah,
in that position for sure. And he doesn't get as much recognition, but I think people inside the NBA circles they know that I think he would have had a chance to be flashy in this NBA, and he could potentially be in the conversation as well. So yeah, I guess the only I'm gonna bring up some names no one really said.
Okay.
What about the Kimbe?
I mean MVP.
And this is just a notable center from back then that wasn't really mentioned.
Oh yeah, I think he'll be a great player, obviously, but I don't know if he'll be in the MVP conversation.
Defensive player for sure, but I agree. But
no doubt.
But you don't really win MVP just because of defense. You have a whole separate reward from that. So I don't know.
Dikembe could probably score a good bit in today's game, and pick and roll. I think he would be great, but I don't know if he would have the scoring prowess or just the impact on both ends of the floor, like a MVP caliber type of player, like a Jokic, like who just won MVP. I don't know if he's doing that type of action and impact on offense. Defense, yeah, like you're probably not gonna score on him on the inside most of the time. So,
right. What about Alonzo Mourning though?
Also a big fan of Zoe.
You should be. That's your guy. Heat.
Oh yeah, legend. But again, defensively, he would be very active. But offensively, I don't know if he had that type of, if he would be able to like develop that type of game to where he's thriving and being able to be a top scorer for a team. Like I don't feel like he was really that in his own career, but he was impactful and obviously a beast in the paint. But
yeah,
I wouldn't say MVP.
Got you. Yeah, I was just bringing up some other names because for the most part, I think everyone agrees is whether it's like David Robinson, Shaq for sure.
I like Patrick Ewing too.
Yeah, I was about to say his name too. Patrick Ewing. He definitely would have been in today's NBA, and it's so soft compared to what it used to be. I'm thinking about the game last night. There's some calls last night that we're like, really? We'll get into that later too, but yeah. But that was a good question though. Good question. Another thing that happened on NBA Twitter had this out there: the highest paid players in the NBA for next season if they opt in, right?
Yeah. So
you got Steph Curry, $48.1 million. Remember he signed an extension like a couple years ago, so it's kicking in. Mm-hmm. So James Harden, $47.4. John Wall, $47.4. Russell Westbrook, $47.1. LeBron James, $44.5, and Kevin Durant, $44.2. These are your highest paid players in the NBA. 3 of them didn't have such good seasons. I'm just saying.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Can someone donate just 1% of their salary to the Swish Masters Podcast? Just 1% of 42 million, whatever. Just, man, you know how crazy that would be?
I can't imagine. That's crazy.
This is interesting.
Very. So, of course, Steph is going to be well deserved of that contract. James Harden, if he's smart, should opt in. There's no way. Russell Westbrook too. If you're smart, opt in. John Wall, same thing. Because if you go ahead and get the bag, don't even opt out. Opt in. LeBron, well deserved. I think he'll get, whenever his next deal is going to be, he'll definitely have more money. KD as well. But remember, Russ got that contract after KD left OKC.
Mm-hmm.
And OKC definitely want to take care of him, so for choosing to opt back in. So this is the last year from that contract, from that extension. Because he was the highest paid player until Steph got it.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Yeah. It was well deserved. Nobody really complained either because Russ won MVP that year too. He lived up to the contract.
For sure.
He got an MVP out of it. James Harden with Houston. This is a contract left over from Houston. He deserved that contract too. He won MVP. He got his team to the playoffs. They were a factor. The only one is John Wall. To me, like, I'm trying to think about when he got that contract. I can't remember. John Wall has been dealing with so many injuries these past couple of years, so I'm wondering when did he get it, and why isn't Bradley Beal? Like, Bradley Beal should have this money compared to John Wall right now.
I think this contract went into play around 4 or 5 years ago, like right before
the injuries, right?
Before the Achilles, I believe, and I think at that time he was still like all-star level.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we know the story. He injury, trade, injury again. You know, and it's unfortunate because you just hate to see guys get injured.
All right.
But also, he hasn't really, for the most of this, I want to say most of this contract, he hadn't played a third of a season, you know, in a while. Mm-hmm. And he's still getting like top of the league type of money, literally. Yeah. So it sucks for owners or, you know, payroll, but good for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just wondering now if you're Washington, like, well, it's like he's down there. The contract's down their books anymore, so it doesn't matter. But I'm thinking back then to give him that contract right then, like, for to be that long. Because to me, John, you give that type of contract to players like, for example, like Luka. You know he's gonna be like a franchise player for like John Wall. At that point, he was an all-star level, but I didn't think of him as like just a superstar franchise player like that.
Yeah.
You know, he was getting towards that. That's why I'm saying I wanted to pay them that much right away, though. But you already talked about the reasons about Harden and Russ got it, and those are well deserved. Steph, of course, and LeBron and KD, yeah, but the biggest one who's like is John Wall that sticks out to me right there. And no offense to John Wall, it's just
I don't know what's gonna happen with him either, but
we'll see. It's a big season for three of those players on the list. James Harden, big season coming up. Russell Westbrook, huge season coming up. And John Wall, the main thing he needs to do is get healthy first and go from there. Because I want him to find a team too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. We'll take a pause right here so you show you this last Twitter thing going on. Just watch this.
I believe you, but what I'm saying
he's
is
finessed the game to a point where he gets all the petty calls, all the swipe throughs at the end. I mean, this guy is out, man. We gonna be honest. We want to be really honest.
Yes.
He should have fouled out. He should have fouled out. The last game too. You see the replay against Brunson. Hit him on the shoulder. Hit him in the mouth. Ref don't call anything. If that's me, review it. Flagrant one. If that's him, they don't call it. So let's not get it twisted, man. He should have fouled out. He can't guard. He literally can't guard.
He can't guard.
Yeah.
He can't. Chris Paul can't guard anybody. Is that what you say?
Did you see that? No, he can't. Everyone knows that.
Excuse me. No. I don't know that. I haven't heard anybody tell me that.
Because you haven't suited up. You know, guys don't like to tell you all the truth. You know that because they scared. They scared what you gonna take with it.
No, he's right about that. They will lie. He's honest. They will lie. That is true. He's not lying about that.
CP can't guard nobody, man. Everybody in the NBA know that. Everybody know that. He can't guard
anybody.
What we call them? Cone. You know what you do with cones? Like when in the summertime, you got a cone. You make a move. What does the cone do?
Stay still.
Exactly. Yeah. He's a cone. Stop playing, man. Everybody knows that. Everyone knows that. It's just y'all don't want to accept it because.
No, I don't accept that. No. I'm saying again, if you're taller than them, you say you can shoot over him. Obviously, that's
an issue. But give him the Ben Simmons slander. Give him the PG-13 slander. Give him the slander that you give everybody. Come on, Steve.
First of all, watch yourself now.
Come on now. Come on now.
Don't compare CP3 to Ben Simmons.
No, I didn't compare. I said the slander. Ben Simmons didn't show up. I said the slander.
Ben Simmons didn't show up.
I said the slander.
Well, what's the slander? I'm going to give you, if you show up, listen, listen. I consider a guy that's an elite defender. You know how I feel about you.
The best in the world.
Well, I wouldn't say the best in the world, but I get you. I know that you're an elite defender. I'm giving you props for that, my brother.
The best in the world.
Okay, well, you should feel that way about yourself. I don't feel that way about you, but you should feel that way about yourself.
ESPN gave me the numbers.
That you're the best in the world?
It's Giannis at 41.3%, and it's Patrick Beverly at 41.9%, which means if you have the ball and Patrick Beverly is guarding you, it feels like Giannis is guarding you. I'm only 6 feet. Yeah. What do you want me to do?
Well, I did say
the greatest in the world.
Tom, I did say you were an elite defender. Be happy with that.
No, I can't.
Be happy with that for the moment.
Let's stay on topic.
For the moment. My point.
Dang, man. that right there. So let's set up the show y'all before how that built up to that real quick. I feel like there were signs before he even got on TV. For example, Jeremy Lin put a tweet out there saying, "Dang, I really hope CP3 gets a championship before he retires." This is like right after he lost, right? And then Jeremy Lin, he said he deserves one. Then right after that, Pat Beverly was like, "What you mean he deserve? Why did he deserve it more? You know, we should have known then that something was like about to come out." This was like from the 15th, right?
Yeah.
And after that, Damian Lillard was laughed at that too. He thought that was funny. Focus on that for a second here. This all gonna make sense in a second. And then Damian Lillard is laughing at the fact that like he out there laughing that he agrees with him, or laughing that it's a terrible take or whatever. But we'll see. Then you just saw the clip talking about he can't guard nobody, calling Chris Paul a cone, to calling like just he's saying give him the slander. He's all for the smoke for that he wants CP3 to kid. All right, for some reason. All right. Then Dame was like, "Man, what CP do to you?" You know, because this man is like his rounds on ESPN talking trash. And then the dude was acting like on TV, acting like his word is law, speaking on private convos and praying on their downfall. This weird behavior, shaking my head. I ain't got a horse in the race. And if you watched ESPN with Pat Beverly on there that whole day, he was just getting on CP3. He's like revealing private conversations, just talking about like, oh, people don't think highly of the Suns. And he revealed Paul George's name in it. I'm like, come on, Patrick. And then Dane put this out there because nobody guarding this man. it's a tweet from like Stat Muse. I think he averaged 11 points, 4.8 assists, and 3.2 rebounds in 6 games in the playoffs, right? And Kevin Durant joined in talking about he put this tweet out there. You know, he running around the world like he Pac. You know, remember that from Kanye. And then Danny Green got on it too. Talking about people targeting you too, Pat Bev. You ain't playing no defense out there, right? Then lastly to this Twitter beef so far, he replied back to him with a retweet that says that Luka never scored in the 28 possessions he was guarded by Patrick Beverly. I would have to back up that stat, but you know it was enough for Patrick Beverly to retweet it and be like health and wealth to Danny Green. Like that's basically a lot. All that to say this: Patrick Beverly is a hater. That's all I gotta say. That's all that shows me, sir. And this is what makes it worse too. I ain't mentioned this. On the same show, that same day, he's talking about give James Harden his money. He deserves a Supermax. We talked about this conversation already ourselves. We like, there's no way we giving James Harden a Supermax contract. And all Beverly's argument was, oh, he's like 28-9, what he did in the past, right? What about what CP3 did in the past? Like, be consistent. That's how you know it's a clear agenda here. I don't know, what's your reaction? I'll say more later.
Bro, Patrick Beverly woke up on a mission to slander and shock and awe the entire world with his ESPN takes. I mean, it's crazy to think that one person can, you know, just say so much blasphemy over a week. And I get it. You know, he's on the court, we're watching. You know, maybe he feels different. Maybe he thinks that, you know, CP3 is not as good as the rest of the world seems to think he is. That's his take. But at the same time, I feel like there was so much behind that the CP3 is a cone. CP3, you can't. He needs all the slander. Why though? And then like he explained it. I think he went on Stephen A's World and was talking about how he was at LeBron's camp or something and was destroying Chris Paul and all this. It's like, all right, cool, but you hadn't won a championship. You hadn't been an all-star. And Chris Paul is still in discussion of one of the greatest point guards of all time. Is Patrick Beverly in that conversation? Not really. I mean, respect to Patrick Beverly. You know what I mean? I respect what he does on the court, but I don't expect him to be CP3. I would expect him to be better than CP3. And this is the thing. Like, another person that you didn't mention, like, that was, coming at him, Matt Barnes, who is also an ESPN analyst from time to time. He had a good point, and I think it brought up a lot of stuff on Twitter, but Matt Barnes basically said that, you can't go on ESPN and say all this stuff, and you're bringing so much personal into it. I feel like as an analyst, your job is to look at it from especially like ESPN. It's not a podcast. It's not like Matt Barnes can talk all the crap he wants to on his own podcast. But when you're talking about you going on ESPN, you going on national TV, you're not. It's for, we know it's for. It's get the ratings up. TV. Patrick Beverly, he's gonna say something crazy, right? But that's just egregious to go at this man for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, you just came on the show and like CP3 is trash. Stump his name all I can. It's just like, dang, dude. Like, and everybody also got on Matt Barnes for coming to his defense. But Matt Barnes said that, he and Patrick Beverly are role players. They're never going to be in the same conversation as a CP3. Yes, come on. And at the end of the day, he can't really validate any of this stuff that he's saying, because it's like, oh, private conversation, and oh, I destroyed him in this camp. Oh, all these other things. But we know the public history of it is you already got beef with this man from when you pushed him in the back walking to the huddle. I mean, obviously we know Chris Paul can be a pesteris, trash-talking player, but at the same time, he's Chris Paul and he's done his... We know what he's capable of. Pat Bev just was on a rant for whatever reason. It's funny. And one more thing about the Matt Barnes thing. Everybody talked about how he came to Chris Paul's defense, and got on Pat Bev, but when it came to Kwame Brown, he didn't keep the same energy. That is completely different, because first of all, Chris Paul, second, Kwame Brown, and third, Patrick Beverly. These names will never be in the same mention if you're not talking about this situation. And Matt Barnes, respect to Matt Barnes, because like he didn't go on ESPN slander Kwame Brown or anybody. He went on his own podcast, and everybody has done that. Stephen A. Smith is famous for saying Kwame Brown is trash on TV. And then Kwame Brown, after 15, 20 years, decided to say something. And they stopped talking because, the man was probably been hearing it for years, and he stopped talking about it. In this case, he went on national TV and just slandered for no reason. This is completely different. So, Patrick Beverly just, I'm good on seeing him on ESPN as an analyst or whatever. Like, they knew what they were doing. They got their TV ratings, but Pat Bev is just outlandishly wild for that, to me.
Yeah, I think they got some of the highest ratings for like that week when he was on there. Like that, I ain't gonna lie, it was entertaining as I don't know what though. I was very entertained by what he was saying.
It's not factual, it's more so of entertaining. It's shock and awe.
I was very entertained by what he was saying. Like, I hope Charles Barkley stays a long time. I think he was talking about retiring in like a year or two. Mm-hmm. But if he ever does, man, Pat Bev is like, he's unfiltered to a certain degree, and we could potentially have, another, because Charles will speak his mind. That's where a lot of that entertainment comes from, But we'll see. But the thing is, and they got Draymond too. Draymond does speak his mind too. So I don't know. We got some good potential people that could be, commentators. So we'll see. But I was very entertained, and along with that too, I agree with everything you said about Barnes. I have no problem with them going at it. We speak highly of Kwame Brown on this show. We respect Kwame Brown as a player. Just in case, like we respect Kwame Brown, and let everybody else know that too. We don't want the smoke. Yeah, man. It's something though. It's very entertaining. He's been on ESPN all week. Honestly, he's probably gonna be on there again next week too, just because of what he did. So be prepared. This will not be the last time you hear Patrick Beverly.
No, unfortunately.
But to put our private conversations out there, that's my main thing. To put private convos out there and put the names on it, that's like the most. So I'm ready to see how people go at him next season. Doing all this talking, he's still the active player. So we'll see how this goes for him next season. And I think you got to go back to Draymond Green. He is an analyst, being paid as an analyst while playing. When you think back, I think he kind of opened Pandora's box a little bit. This means more players may be eligible to do it. And they can be, it's hard to be completely professional in ESPN, right? In this analyst world, and still be at the player, because eventually it's going to mix, because the people that do it now, they're not playing anymore, right? And they can only be in that mode, right? It takes a certain nuance to do that while doing both, and as more players do it, we may see more instances where private conversations be exposed, right? Whereas a player may slip up and say a name, right? Although Patrick Beverly did it on purpose, but there could be some players that do it accidentally. It has to be very nuanced working in the media, which is different between having your own podcast and being in the media. Because podcast, that's fine. In the media, it's a bigger platform. It's played everywhere around the world. They have so many different platforms within that medium, so it's a lot. So it's just something to think about. But yeah, that's the Twitter beef, and that's all the latest NBA news. Let us know what you think about these and more, right? Man, that's crazy.
Went on a tear,
he
man.
he was he was doing.
Yeah, for sure.
He had a clear agenda. It was very clear what he was doing.
Oh yeah.
Makes no sense.
I mean, do you think? I mean, if it's a check for him, but I just feel that when you, like you said, it's a difference between having your own platform, podcast, or whatever, versus being a part of national media, national television. And I felt that was just a bit more leaning into his own personal stuff instead of, more realistic takes on different topics.
Yeah, and I say this too. Everyone has a bias, right? You have a bias for a team or a player. And that's fine. All players, all analysts, all of them have a bias, whether they admit to it or not. They do. But it's the fact of not making it personal. Don't make it so personal. And recognize the bias and state it, right? I'm normally say it all the time. I'm a Russell Westbrook fan, right? So most times I'm not. I'm gonna defend the man because I like Russell Westbrook, and I always